Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and today I'm back with another video here. We're back after the All-Star break. It was a good break. It was a needed break for myself. Worked on a couple things for the brand and Maher Media and all that. And we've revamped the entire website. We did a ton of work with that throughout the week or 9 days, whatever it was for the Flyers. And it looks really good. I really like it, and I think we added a lot of stuff to it. I think the layout looks better, and there's different fonts and all these little different things you can now listen and or watch these videos or for Fly Guys on the site. So it's really cool. Obviously, we have a link to our Discord server as well. Please join that if you haven't. It's a really fun time. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that we offer, and super pumped to keep this going and keep the trend rolling. And Flyers do that as well, and they get a win. They get back on the winning side, and this was a good game because I think in a lot of ways this game is different, I think, because it's this year's team. And I put out a tweet a little bit ago, and I feel like, like last year, when you looked at last year's team, they were just up and down, right? I mean, they just weren't there. I mean, there were so many things wrong with last year's team. And when you look at this year and you look at kind of where this team has gotten so far and growing, I mean, they're still in a playoff spot with another, 2 points against tonight. Again, they get back in the win column after the 5-game losing streak going into the All-Star break. And they get a little bit of help because the Hurricanes did lose. The Flyers, obviously, they won. Pittsburgh won. So, I mean, they're able to gain some ground to win when you're looking at the standings. I know it's really early, still the trade deadline, all that stuff, but it's still one of those things where it's like kind of around this time is when I start kind of checking the standings a little bit more than I would. So, when I look at this team and I look at last year's team had played some of their best hockey going to the All-Star break. They came off a 4-0 win in Winnipeg. It was a really solid win. I believe Erson was in net that night. It might have been Carter Hart, but I'm not too sure. It was a 4-0 shutout. They had goals from Tippett, D'Angelo. A lot of guys chipped in. It was just a good, solid win, right? And you go into the break, all right, got a couple days off, yada, yada, yada. They come back, play the Islanders at home, and they were horrific. And they lose 2-1. Think to myself, all right, maybe that's just one game that led into a couple. I believe they had a 5-game losing streak coming out of the break. And I mean, that team had no chance of making the playoffs, unlike this team, has a chance. But that was just totally different. That's the difference, is that team last year had the same first period that this team did. They were terrible. That's probably their worst first period of the season. I mean, outside of the last game against Boston before the break, where I was just like, oh my God, get to the break. Like, this was easily the worst. I mean, they were just, everything was bad. Like, there was sometimes, I'll try to think of one thing or one play. There was nothing. Like, it was that bad. I think the Paling line was literally in the Flyers and the entire period. Every shift they had, they were stuck in the defensive zone. It was that bad. I think they had, 3 shots, something like that. I mean, they had 3 shots for a long period of time. It just wasn't good. So we'll get there in a little bit, and I'll kind of, give a little more of a deeper dive into that. But that's the difference, right? That's the difference with this team and last year, is the fact that they have a response. I have said that all year long here. I have beaten the horse on that. I mean, it has just been constant. I mean, it's everything. If it's a hit, if it's a scrum, a fight. I mean, Konechny literally at intermission was just like, yeah, we're just doing what they were doing. And he's 100% right. They were. They won more puck battles. They look like they hadn't played hockey in 2 years in that first period. Like, it just did not look like an NHL team. And they come in. I'm like, all right, they look really flat. Let's just get out of this period at 1-0 and see what happens. They had a couple of chances. Konechny did have a breakaway too. I'm like, all right, maybe we can get a goal here off of some luck. But I mean, that was just a really bad period. You go into the good second period. You weathered the storm. You had a ton of chances. You got the shots back up. The Panthers had 2 shots on net for the longest time. They went shotless in the last 6:44. And that's not, that's not any other team. That's the Florida Panthers with Matthew Tkachuk, Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart was 37 goals this year. I mean, so much firepower up front, and the guys that they have, they score a ton. Their power play's good. I mean, like, the Panthers are a good team. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do, especially when they had the goalie pulled from 3 minutes left. I mean, that's a really good feat for this Flyers team, and they just continue to do something different in every game. I feel like I'm always in the wins, at least I'm finding something. I'm obviously the losses you can pick apart whatever, but in wins I'm still finding something different, and that's the biggest thing. So lines in this one: Tippett, Couturier, Atkinson, Farabee, Frost, Konechny, Forrester, Palin, Cates, Lawton, and Hathaway. They go with 11 and 7, so they pretty much changed all game. Sanheim, Risto, York with Drysdale. That was a little interesting. Torts had to calm them down. Torts was, giving Drysdale a little bit of some stuff on the bench as well because of, kind of the play that he had made. And, the Flyers, they were, like I said, they were bad. I mean, they were really bad in the first period. York with Drysdale, like I mentioned, and Sealer with Walker and Zamula was the 7D. So, again, first period was terrible. It was all Panthers. Urson had a couple really good saves. That is the one thing that's been different, too, is that Urson, at least in the past couple of games, not that Urson played bad. I don't think he played bad. He just didn't come up with a big save. And that's hard when, you're playing teams like Tampa, Boston, Colorado and all that, all the time. That's not easy, especially when he came into the Colorado game and all that too. That's not an easy thing to do, but he also didn't do it. So you have to, that's something you have to keep in mind. At the same time, they didn't play well in front of him, and they gave up 27 goals in their last 5. They gave up 1 tonight. That's the difference. That's the thing. It was all right, let's get into this break, let's get a breather and see what happens. And then it just, the first period was like, what are we doing? And then they finally were able to kind of get out of that. But before that, Verhaeghe, like I said, he makes it 1-0. It was a power play goal. I mean, you just knew that one was coming. It was a failed clear. They had a chance up the ice from the Flyers the other way. Konechny had a one-on-one and fanned on it. And then he gets the breakaway. We go into the second period. Much better. I mean, they won puck battles. They moved the puck up the ice. They generated offense. They won battles in the offensive zone. They did what Florida did. They checked. They forechecked. They did what the Flyers have been able to generate and do well this season, was generate and move the puck in the offensive zone, get in, create havoc, create turnovers at the line, and just keep doing it. Roll all 4 lines. I mean, again, and like I mentioned, 11-7. You're gonna have different pairs and different guys. I mean, at one point, Tippett was out with Lawton and Hathaway. It just changes all game, and there's a lot of little things that go into that. Joel Farabee was incredible tonight. He's one of the guys that has really, really been an important piece. He's there's Konechny, there's Couturier, and then there's Farabee. He has been the third, kind of, not glue guy, because that's more Coots, but he's been the really good complement guy this year, where he's really just, I think, elevated whoever he's played with. He did it with Brink. He's done, obviously, he's been good with Coots, TK, Frost, Tippett, whoever you want to put him with. He's been good with this year for Farabee, and an incredible bounce-back year for him. Flyers did get a power play. Lawton drawled one. That they didn't get set up once. I didn't think the power play was going to have a good game. It was a lot of the ones that were just kind of a muck and grind kind of game, and that's what tonight was. And it was really all Flyers up until this point. They generated a ton of chances, and then Konechny scores. I mean, beautiful pass by Farabee. The little chip. He had a lot of good passes tonight. Good puck. He put pucks in good areas for guys to skate to it. And then the Panthers had a couple chances after the goal as well. Really good period though. Atkinson had a chance late. Konechny had one late as well. There was a scrum. We get 4-on-4 going into the third. 2-1. Really nice goal from Cates. I feel great for Cates because he's a guy that's obviously gone through a lot. He wasn't having the best start to the season. Then he breaks his foot. He comes back. Then they get the All-Star break. Really good to see. Really, really good to see. I mean, he's able to come in and just I don't think he's been the same Cates, obviously offensively. I think there's more there. Defensively, he's been very good, and he always is good. There really isn't a time where he's out of position or not in the play or not making a play or whatever. There are some times it happens, but I mean, just a really good individual effort. And he snipes one past Stolarz. Flyers get the lead. And what I loved about the third was that is such a Flyers hockey third period, to a T, where you just don't give them any room. You block a ton of shots. He had 20 block shots up until the last 2 minutes or so in the third. I don't know off the top of my head how much they credited them with, but I had written it down in my notes. But I mean, still, it was just a really, really solid 22 block shots. They had 2 more at the end there, to the Panthers 10. And, you know, in the first, I think it was 7 or 8, maybe 9 minutes of the period, maybe half of the first period, the Flyers had 5 giveaways credited. They had 9 to end the game, and Florida had 15 throughout the rest of the game. So that kind of shows you right there the change in pace. And they haven't had a ton of shots on net lately, only 25. And Florida, they held them to 21. And Florida's been a really high team in shots on goals. It's just a solid win, man. A really, really solid win. Again, they just clogged everything what Florida was doing. It was the same thing Konechny said in the intermission. And, you know, it's making me look dumb because he already said it. But, like, and I noticed it too. But just the way that they were playing, the way that they forechecked and defended, it made everything easier, getting out of the zone and all that too. So a really solid win. Sam Ersson was very good. And yeah, Flyers with the 2-1 win. Thanks everybody again for all support as always. Make sure to check out Maher Media and all the things that we do on the website, the Discord, my videos, 4 Flag Guys, PHI Heritage, everything that we do. It's all a lot of good stuff. All the writers, content, social media, everything. Thanks everybody again for all the support as always. My name is Chris, and I will talk to you all again soon.